Hey everybody, welcome back here to A Place to Heal Toxic Foods in Your Gut. If there is one thing that I constantly get asked about, I've been doing this 10 years now. And in those 10 years, the one thing that gets repeated over and over and over, I think I have leaky gut. I have issues with my digestive system. I can't go to the bathroom. I mean, all roads lead back to the colon, and something going on in your digestive system that isn't just not right. For those of you who have never been here before, my name is Marie, and I came from a really bad place. So like 10 years ago, I had the worst, I'm talking the worst IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, that you could, and ulcerative colitis, that, I mean, it was unbearable. There was times I couldn't leave the house, and I would go places, and I can still remember a day, like I have people that call me and go, I'm going through this, and I'm like, oh, I mean, like it triggers me, right? Because I remember this stuff where I used to go out and I thought I was doing okay, and here would come all the issues after I ate, and I'd have to run to the bathroom. I remember there was times, and I know I've said it on this channel before, where I would have my pants down around my ankles, and I thought, I'm going to pass out here, and they're going to find me like this when they call 911, you know, I'm going to look so pretty. But, you know, I mean, I'm going to try to tell you guys exactly how to fix that. But before I get started, I want to say this. I can do 10,000 videos. And I can do them on herbs. I can do them on detoxification. I can do them on whatever I want. And nobody says a word. The minute I begin to talk about food, I got people coming at me left and right. You don't know what you're talking about. You're not a nutritionist, blah, 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 on and on and on. And, you know, attacking me. And I mean, I just posted on Instagram and I got attacked the minute I put it on there. And I already knew. But I want to tell you guys this before I get started. When you come at somebody, in the 10 years I've been doing this, there's a lot of doctors that I disagree with. There's a lot of nutritionists I disagree with. There's a lot of detoxification specialists I disagree with. There's a lot of people that I disagree with. And not once have I ever gone on their channel and said, you know what, you're wrong. This is the way it is, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Because let me tell you, when you do that, when you do something like that, okay, when you go on somebody's channel to challenge them about something that you know, right, you know for sure about it, is most of these people, like the followers on my channel can attest to this. Some of these people have been following me for 10 years since I first started. Some of them, I mean, I've dealt with their families, their kids, everything. You know, we've had in-house consultations. I've gone to their homes. So we've gotten very close over the years, and they follow me on private platforms. So these people are not going to care what you say. And every creator, it's not just me, every creator has their following that is tight, that has been following them for years. And no matter what you say, they're just going to go, yeah, okay, whatever. I love him or I love her. You know, nothing you say matters. So number one, you're wasting time. You're wasting your time. And number two, it doesn't say anything about the creator. It says everything about you. Because when I see these comments on my channel, like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know where you're coming from. You're not educated enough, whatever. It tells me two things about you. Doesn't say anything about me. It says it about you. And what it says is that you're either coming, one, from a place of fear, and you're afraid of learning something new and having what you have always had ingrained, kind of a hint about the video, what you had ingrained into your psyche, and you refuse to change that because, God, if that's a lie, what else is a lie, right? And number two, you come from a place of ego, where you have to prove that you're right. You have to prove that you are on top and you're right, they're wrong. Look at me, how special I am. So it speaks volumes about you when you leave messages like that. Okay. So be very careful when you do that. All right. Because there are people that, are very into their psyche, and they can pick up a lot of stuff on you just from leaving messages like that. And I don't know about anybody else's channel, but on my channel, you leave messages like that, they're going to get deleted, they're going to get blocked, and you're going to get banned, because I do not allow that negativity on my channel. I never have, I never will, and I will never challenge you in any way, because we are all on our own journeys, headed our own directions. What I used to preach 10 years ago, some of that stuff I don't preach today. I still have people that contact me and say, Marie, as a vegan, what do you eat in a day? I don't know, I'm not a vegan anymore. Marie, as a fruitarian, what do you eat in a day? I don't know, I'm not a fruitarian anymore. As a raw foodist, what do you eat? I don't know, I'm not a raw foodist anymore. My diet has evolved. Life evolves. That's what's so great about life. We change, we evolve, we grow, we become new people. And thank God, because that's has to do with our health also. So I want to teach you how to heal your gut. Okay, and I want to start with probiotics. A lot of people sit there and ask me, Marie, what's the best probiotic that you can take? Marie, what probiotic is good? Okay, so probiotic prices are getting insane. And I'm going to tell you because this is my journey, right? My personal journey and the journey of those that have taken it with me in the last 10 years. Probiotics are poop. They're just junk, okay? Most of that stuff is not active, and it's junk. It is junk, okay? I'm going to tell you where the probiotic thing works. If you have small children, if you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, up to about 15 years old, if you have these children and they have problems going to the bathroom, or they have UTIs or something like that, probiotic, or they have upset stomachs with bacteria, right? If they're running high fevers, you want to give them probiotics, because the probiotics help in that situation. But if you have gut issues already, if you have irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, any kind of colitis whatsoever, anything going on with digestion where you can't digest and you got bloating, you got irritation, you got constipation, all that, probiotics are not going to work. Okay, you've got a traffic jam in there and you're just adding another car. That's all you're doing. So here we go. This is where the controversy starts. And you're free to disagree with me. But, this is from 10 years of research and going through my system and helping other people heal up their system. Okay, very quickly for that matter. Okay, turkey. A lot of people will tell you, stick to chicken and turkey because they're the leaner, fatty, less fatty meats and everything like that. Okay, so turkey is very acidic. Okay, and it also contains a bunch of other chemicals. This is why you kind of feel lethargic after Thanksgiving. You start feeling like, I gotta go to sleep. Okay, so turkey contains all these chemicals, but it's very high in uric acid. So there's a good chance that you're gonna end up with, with acidity in your joints, hip pain, knee pain, all of this stuff, and gout. All right. So red meat. I know there's a lot of red meat lovers up there. And believe me, I came from that too. I came from the 2 refrigerators in the garage full of, pork and prime rib and, everything else. Right. I knew my cuts. I knew how I wanted them cooked, and I knew how I wanted them rare or well done. Or I knew. Believe me, I was the meat eater. Red meats are very acidic for the body. It's been proven. This is not something this is not hippie junk that I'm coming up with. This has been proven time and time and time again. This is why Arnold Schwarzenegger had to get off the meats. This is why Bill Clinton, after having 2 heart attacks, he'd, get off the red meat. The red meat, and it's not the meat per se that is bad. The problem is that most people that are eating this meat don't even have enough acid in their stomach to break down the proteins of this meat. Their liver isn't working enough to break down the stuff in this meat. Okay. And the second half of that is they are very high in saturated fats, which of course is going to cause, all sorts of issues for your body, not just your liver. It's going to clog your liver. It's going to affect your colon because now it's stagnant. Remember, you didn't have enough acid and you didn't have enough bile to break all this stuff down. So now it's putrefying in your intestines. And and a bunch of other stuff. Because there's a whole bunch of stuff that comes into play that you don't even realize when you're eating this stuff. And the fats, of course, are going to clog up your arteries, cause heart disease, high blood pressure, on and on and on. This is why after you have a heart attack, you should be doing this before, after you have a heart attack, they tell you to cut back on this. Every cardiologist on here, can I get a witness, please? Every cardiologist I have ever spoken to has told me that. Stay towards the leaner meats because it's just too much fat. Now, I'm not saying you can't have it. I'm just saying don't do it every week, because you're going to get clogs. It's going to get clogged. It's going to get colon clogged, heart clogs, liver clogs, all sorts of clogs. So you got turkey, you got red meat, you got alcohol. Of course, I don't even need to go into that because you should already know that alcohol is not a good deal. It's very acidic. Bacon, and the bacon is the bacon fat, the bacon grease, right? Bacon has a high fat. This clogs your arteries. Went to the hospital one time and I was, learning from a phlebotomist. And she started pulling, she was pulling blood, and I was looking at the vials, okay? And this is how naive I was back then. I picked up one of the vials and I go, oh, how cute. You guys put wax at the bottom of the vials? And she goes, no. She goes, you know what that is? I go, no. She goes, look at the other vials. They don't have it. And I was picking them up, and some vials, the blood was clear. It moved. Other vials, there was a little tiny of that white at the very bottom. But this vial had about that much white at the bottom. So I thought it was wax and it wouldn't move. And she goes, that is pure animal fat. Pure saturated fat that's in that vial. So, so this is, the blood came out of this guy's veins. She put it in there and all the fat settled to the bottom because of course it's heavy. So that tells you something. Okay, organ meats. Liver, of course, is good for you. It's a great source of vitamin A, but you don't want to have it all the time because organ meats can cause a lot of acidity in the body. But the one I guess the most pushback on is the grains. If you are with earshot of this video, please hear me. Please hear me. The minute I got rid of grains, it changed my life. When you cook pasta, when you cook anything, even bread, right? If you wet bread, it's like a glue. You can actually, you form a glue. And the same thing with pasta. It has that consistency. Okay, not only is this happening in your pots and pans, this is happening in your colon. So grains are huge when it comes to that. Okay, so I tell people, if you absolutely cannot give up grains, if you just can't, if it is beyond you to have that kind of self-control, then at least cut them down to 3 times a week. Okay, find your grains, right? Tortillas, pasta, rice, and don't come at me about the rice because I'm going to start telling you about rice too, because I have a lot of bodybuilders that's like, no, I have to have my rice. Okay, so the rice, believe it or not, there is processed rice and there's real rice. So if you're going to consume rice as one of your 3 servings for the week, you want to use basmati. Basmati rice, if you flip it over, I wish I had my container. If you flip it over, it says ingredients. Rice. That's real rice. That is but if you ever notice, if you have digestive problems and you eat rice, you're going to get bloated, because there's other stuff that's not working correctly in there. If you get stuff like Mahatma rice and you turn it over and you read ingredients, it's going to say rice, this, that. It has 10 ingredients. So for those of you who have never heard this before, if it contains more than one ingredient, it's not real food. It is not real food. So if you take an apple, there's no label with the ingredient. I mean, apple is an apple. It's what you get. A pear is a pear. A banana is a banana. Rice should be rice. The minute you start adding 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chemicals, it's processed. By the time you get to 8 and 10 chemicals, you got super processed. By the time you got chemicals in there that you can't even read, your gut has no idea what to do with them. So you take something like macaroni and cheese. I wish I had a box. Macaroni and cheese, something like that that's really highly processed. Okay, so you've already got your pasta. So here you go. You got your grains, and then you got all this other junk that they add in there, and food colorings, and this and that and the other thing, and you're already starting to congest your gut. So a lot of people say, Marie, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Grains are good for you. Grains are absolutely freaking toxic. Okay, because once upon a time, the grains were healthy. We got the whole thing. We got the wheat, we got the shaft, we got it all, right? Now what they do is they put it through a processing plant, they suck everything out of it, and you get the starch. You get the junk. You get the stuff you're gonna put into your body, and it's gonna turn into sugar, right? So not only is it gonna cause problems with that, it's also going to cause problems with blood sugar and diabetes and everything else. Okay, so I start seeing IBS. That's one of the first ones, right? Actually, one of the first ones is always going to be bloating, right? I feel bloated. Oh my God, I feel like I weigh an extra 10 pounds after I just ate that meal. Okay, that's your body talking to you, telling you too many grains, too much junk. Okay, so and next thing it turns in like irritable bowel, and then you have digestive issues and colitis, and I mean you might even get Crohn's, all this stuff. And then I get the people that call me and go, hey, I have calcium in my blood, right? Or I'm leaking calcium in my kidney protein, right? So this is issues with okay, hang on, back up. So calcium is the most alkaline mineral on the spectrum. Okay, so alkaline has to buffer anything acidic. So anytime that you're eating these high amounts of red meat and you're eating these high amounts of grains, right, your body is pulling and pulling and pulling calcium to buffer this acid. Okay, so you could end up with kidney stones. You're going to end up with little, on your fingers, you might end up with like the calcium deposits, or around your feet. You'll end up with gout, and all this stuff, because it has to pull that calcium to buffer. And if it pulls enough, one or two things is going to happen. It's either going to start showing up in your blood, because you have all this overproduction of calcium going on in your body, right? And the second thing you got going on is, you could get osteoporosis, because it's pulling it from your bones in order to buffer. Okay, so you have that going on. So in that case, you should go back to my vitamin D video and K2, where you need to start dispersing that calcium, cut back on the food that you're consuming that's acidic, go into a more alkaline diet, and then you can go ahead and add the D3 with the K2 to start dispersing that calcium where it's supposed to go, right? Okay, but you will see, I've talked to doctors who specialize like in hip pain, hip surgeries, hip replacements, knee surgeries, knee replacements, knee. And I've had people that, like, nobody had more pain in their knees than I did. My knees hurt so bad. I could barely get out of bed. I could barely get up off a chair. It was crazy. I would walk down the hallway and all you'd hear was click, click, crack, crack, click, click, crack, crack, because my knees were so bad. Now, I don't have zero issue with my knees. I don't have zero issues with my shoulders or my elbows or nothing. So I'm telling you, these grains are just toxic because of what they've done. Oatmeal, something as simple as oatmeal. You have good old-fashioned oats that are this big, right? And they process the hell out of them. They make them 1 minute oats and process them some more, and you can cook them in 1 minute, and they're this size, right? That's not food anymore. So what you need to do is you need to start focusing more on real foods. Cut way back on that red animal protein, right? If you need to get your protein, if you're an athlete, I got slammed for this one. If you're an athlete, you're a bodybuilder, or anything like that, and you want to get protein, you want to get protein to make those nice muscles, head for eggs. Okay. Don't hear about the cholesterol. I have been bodybuilding since 1980. Okay. I started bodybuilding in 1980. I still, till this day, know bodybuilders, weightlifters, power lifters that have been lifting all these years. And these guys and this girl consume 8 to 15 eggs a day. They've never had any heart issue. They've never had cholesterol issue. Nothing. No problems. Zero. Right? So the only time that you would stop consuming that protein is if you're like stage 3, stage 4 kidney failure, and you're already spitting out protein in your blood, in your urine, it's overspilling into your urine, you would pull back on that and stop. And then when you start back up consuming the protein, then you would head for the eggs, because the eggs are up here, way up here, right? Because everybody's like, well, I want to get it from protein powders. Protein powders only give you like 7% protein. It's like nothing. Eggs, way up there at 62, 61, 62. And you're going to even notice, I've even noticed with when I had kidney disease, I could eat eggs and it did not affect my kidneys. It did not affect my blood pressure. It did not affect my cholesterol. You know what affected my cholesterol? Cheese. Cheese is horrible for cholesterol. So my little boy wants to come up. He just got a bath and he smells so good. So, so that's what you want to do is if you want to heal your colon. Of course, it's not going to, you're not going to heal in 2 to 3 days. This is not a probiotic, a prescription that you take for 3 days and you're going to be perfectly fine. This is going to take you 3, 4, sometimes up to 6 months to get all that trash and get your colon function properly. I love you too. So, so that's what you need to do. Unless you start doing like enemas, which help get that mucus out that you've already got in there, that stagnation that you've already got in there, all that stuff, you start getting that out while you start putting the good stuff in, you're taking the bad stuff out, and that's going to help you to heal a little bit faster. But trust me on this one, I've worked with so many people in the last 10 years, and everybody's like gluten. It's not the gluten, it's the grains. It's the gluten in the grains. It's the junk in the grains. It's the everything they've taken out of the grains. It's the grains turning, the high carbs in the grains turning into sugars into your body. And then, you become glucose intolerant and, you become pre-diabetic and you don't understand what's going on. And, look, your body does 2 things with food. It either uses it or it stores it. Okay, so you have to learn your foods. You have to learn, even my grandkids, when they eat, I sit there and I tell them, hey, what are you eating? Oh no, I got a fat and I got a fat and I got a fat. That's too much. I don't have any carbs on here. The other day, my granddaughter even looked at me. She goes, Grandma, there's no protein on here. And I go, oh, you're right. Where'd your protein go? It's like, instantly, you should be that conscious where you know what you are putting into your body. When you feed your dogs, When you feed your cats, you look at this, you know what you're feeding your animals. You know what you're feeding your animals. You don't want to feed them crap, right? When you go put gas in your car, you choose which grade of gas you want. You know what you are putting in your car because you know damn well if you use that E83 and your car is not E83 compliant, you're not going to get too far down the road, right? If it says water and you push water and you put that in your car, so you know well enough, you know what to use in your vehicle, but you don't know what to use in your own body. You need to start getting educated on that. All right, so there you go. So if I can advise you on anything, if we can advise you on anything, it's I can't tell you how good he smells right now. He smells so good. What I can advise you on anything is, you know, cut down on those red meats, the alcohol, and start incorporating less grains. I'm going to show you because I love pasta. One of my favorite things is pasta, and I love it. And I had a friend, a dear old friend, who brought this up to me. Palmini. These are palmini noodles. They have a total of, I think, 4 grams of carbs. Yeah, you can see it right there, 4 grams of carbs. And this one's angel hair. It's gluten-free, it's sugar-free, and whenever I want noodles, whenever I want spaghetti, whenever I want pasta, this is how I go. And ingredients is like, what's in this? Palmini noodles. Check that out. Wow, that's amazing. So what it has here is sliced hearts of palm, that's why they call it palmini, water, and natural sea salt. That's a food. Okay, so start checking. There's clients that I have had the same conversation with at least 10 times because all it takes is 2 seconds to turn stuff over. Check, forget calories. Okay, I mean, this one's only 20. That's pretty good. But fats, carbs, proteins, what are you consuming? What is going into your body? You need to know what those micronutrients are, okay? Because, and I'm going to end it here because I did not think this video was going to go this long. I'm going to end this here. If you think for 1 minute, and I really want you to think about this, when a zoo gets a gorilla, they know precisely what to feed that gorilla because that gorilla cost them a lot of dough. And they know precisely what to give that gorilla to get the most out of its lifespan in order to make money off that gorilla at that zoo, right? When you go get dog food, you know damn well what you're feeding your dog. You know damn well what you're feeding your cat. You know that your cat needs more crude protein than your dog does, blah, blah. You know, they know what diet. You buy a snake, they tell you exactly what to eat. They know, and they can even mimic that diet and make it in pellet form and give it to them. Birds, everything. Do you really think that they don't know what the perfect diet is for you? Yeah, keep believing that. They know exactly what diet is your best diet. They just don't want to tell you that because, you know, if you know, you know. All right, I will see you next time. Love you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. And just stay happy. Stay happy. I'm going to try to keep you healthy. Bye-bye. Have a great week.